welcome to another episode of GirlExec. I'm Christy and I'm here with Aisha, and today we are joined by two phenomenal women who are going to share in our series, Leading as a Whole Woman, Mind, Heart, and Soul. And we're just excited to have them here as they share from their respective careers, countries, and cultural contexts.
Thank you, Chris. We are thrilled to be joined by two women who I've had the pleasure to work with over many years, both in the U.S. and in Latin America. We have Blanca Quino joining us from Lima, Peru, where she is a country manager for a major global pharmaceutical company. Blanca has over 15 years of experience leading teams in pharmaceuticals, in fast-moving consumer goods, in local companies and global companies. But the thing I love about her most is that she's committed to developing leaders everywhere that she goes. As a special note, Blanca is a personal mentor for me and an inspiration. So Blanca, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
We also have Silvi Haldipur joining us from Eastern USA, where she is an executive director of global marketing. Silvi has over 20 years of experience in leveraging data, design, and technology to deliver world-class solutions to consumers, and is someone who I've worked with and known for almost 15 years now. She's an incredible leader, an incredible colleague, and a mother of two boys like me. Silvi, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So without any further ado, we're going to jump right in. Today, we want to hear your views, Blanca and Silvi, on what it means to you to lead as a whole woman, mind, heart, and soul.
Absolutely. And we'll kick off with talking about leading with the mind. That was the first thing we talked about in the series. And in that, we talked about several self-sabotaging behaviors and how you overcome them. So Blanca, if I could start with you just to talk about how have you managed to overcome these behaviors, both personally and in your career?
Well, first of all, thank you, Christy and Aisha, to be here. The space that you are giving to us is kind of a reflecting time, and I start with reflecting. I think that the way to keep me aware of my strengths and my weakness is the time of reflecting. I want to let you know that in this journey of development that I have for myself as an independent woman, I can tell you that I have a father who always, since I have my first thought of him is, you have to be an independent woman. Mm-hmm. You have to be someone that cares about yourself. And it's incredible because my father was born at 1920. So I think that he was very rigorous, but he was very clear about what was going to happen with his girl. So I tried to study, but at the first time I used to have like questions about what would I like to study. I do not have a clear path of what I want to do. So the first thing that after I decide what to study is that I read a lot of articles around how can the mind sabotage you. So I think that that gives me the power of try to handle my mind, because when you handle your mind, you have the ability not to get overwhelmed of the amount of thoughts, of negative thoughts that are very natural that comes to you. And I can tell you that I try to reflect on my thoughts, and then I try to choose about thoughts that came to verbs, because the verb is something so important, because verb moves me to action. So that voweling, that loud sound that I made with the verbs calls me for action, and it is what drives me. Verbs allow my intention to imagine and then to move on the journey to make the things that I would like to do and that I expect that are going to happen. This is going to be something that maybe people think that it's a little bit naive, but I used to move from negative thoughts to positive thoughts, not the positive thoughts that it's just positive thoughts, but it's something that moves you to make things happen. So it's like positive words and actions, positive verbs, So it's like my mind is like, I am always like looking for something, learning, solving, moving. I don't keep quiet just for a reflection of the time and then I start again, because I think that it's a virtuous cycle. So that is my own experience about what my mind, with the mind I have, with the mind I have. Sorry, but I'm Latin America. I try to speak in very fluent English, but sometimes I have trouble with the words.
You're doing an excellent job. And the fact that just sharing the power of words and how you replace the words that are positive and put you into action, that is very meaningful and a very constructive way to overcome the self-sabotaging behaviors. Thank you. Silvi.
So I'm going to build on what Blanca just shared because I think she brought up some really good perspective about mind and reflection. And so if I was to talk about self-sabotaging behaviors, one of the things that I've realized is sometimes we as women need to start just accepting that failure will happen. We aren't perfect. Things will go wrong. And it was in those moments of actually like reflecting on why I might be worrying, why I might be feeling small. It was those moments when I realized it was the pressure that I was putting on myself.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as I let go of that pressure and I say things such as, you know, I shouldn't worry about what other people think
Mm-hmm.
or how other people perceive me, I started performing. And I want to give a really good example to kind of bring this into context and also to kind of bring into light this this notion of the mind and the power of reflection. So, and this happens to women a lot, I believe. So I walked into a really large meeting and I was new to the job, new to the role. And I walked in, and usually, if you know people who know me, I'm very social. I will say hi to everybody. I'm almost sometimes, you know, what you would coin an extrovert. And as I walked into this meeting, I actually shut down and I was very quiet. And I said to myself, trying to you know, say, you know, kind of help me understand my own behavior. So you're gonna sit here and read the room. You're gonna try to understand the players first before you start interacting with them. But in reflection, what actually was occurring was everyone in the room was actually judging me. I was the new girl in the room. They wanted to see if I can perform. And in that room, as I was, you know, quiet, inadvertently, I actually gave away some power. I told the individuals in the room through my silence that I was unconfident. And in that moment of, you know, being unconfident or being perceived as unconfident, I, in a way, were letting them, saying to them, I actually care what they think. And by doing that, that automatically put me into this box of, can this woman perform, when I know fully well that I can perform. But it was in that silence that I was, you know, giving them some kind of notion that I couldn't perform. And it's when I realized that I was doing that to myself, right? Yes. Were they judging me? Absolutely. But it was, I needed to like recognize from a mindset perspective that I had to go into that room not caring what they think and be who I am. And if I falter or I fail, I say something wrong, it's human. It's completely okay. And it's in those moments that I realized that's, you know, where the power is. It's in the moment of having the right mindset, accepting failure, being who you are, and also and being reflective that not everything you can overcome, right? Some things you just have to let be.
That is powerful. That questioning the why you were thinking, what you were thinking. and knowing that you could do it. That is so powerful. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you, Silvi. There's a quote that we put out that says, "You don't have to be perfect to be amazing." And I think that your story reminds me of that. I think another superpower that we have and that we talked about in the second series of this whole woman piece is the heart. And the superpower that we have as women to lead from our heart, from a place of emotion, from a place of care. We talked about the fact that as women, we tend to really drive connections with people, that we listen, that we have a heart to develop. And when I think about my own career, the people I most remember from any job are those people who had that special place of pouring into others from this place of the heart. So I'm just interested to know, Silvi, perhaps starting with you this time, is there anybody special in your career who stands out to you as being a leader that led from the heart? And are there things you've learned from that person to try to integrate into your own day-to-day?
Absolutely, Aisha, and thank you for giving me that question. I have to say, I find that I'm extremely fortunate in that I've worked with such fantastic mentors, leaders over the years. And as I've worked with a number of great leaders, what I've noticed about the quality that stood out for some of them that I look to replicate, or I look to as my guide in terms of how I should lead kind of going forward, has been the individuals who really focus on development. And these individuals, what they've done is, there's a saying I've heard over and over, shared by many different individuals, fake it till you make it. And you can absolutely fake it till you make it, but there's an essence of, how do I learn and actually evolve and grow, right? And so as I've mentored individuals or worked with individuals or trained individuals, I often try to replicate what those leaders that have led with their heart truly, to kind of replicate their style in terms of development. And so it's something called learn by doing. As individuals, we tend to learn by watching others. We tend to learn by copying others. And so when I mentioned this fake it till you make it, often that happens when somebody that is working with you or alongside you has no guard stick in terms of what does good look like? How do I actually, demonstrate what success should look like, what it could, what it should look like. And so either I try to surround those individuals with people who are really skilled in what we were doing at that moment in time, or by doing it myself and trying to share with them so that they can see it as well and learn. And then they bring their own perspective, right? Their own artistry into solving that particular problem, or their own knowledge set. And then as a team, we start building to something even greater than we've ever built before. And in that to me is leading with the heart. It's about putting yourself forward in helping others. And I've had a number of leaders who've just really have done that exceptionally well throughout my career.
So I think that's powerful. That's what we all have to remember. Not every leader has it top of mind, that people are watching us. People are watching you, just the way you've watched the others. So I think that's a powerful lesson for all of us to remember. Blanca, I would love to hear your experience on the same question, people who you've seen demonstrate from the heart and how you do that.
First of all, I would like to tell a little story. This is a powerful question and also obliges me to reflect about this. You can't develop yourself without help. That means people that honestly care about you and find shine on you. I recognize on my journey that I met partners that start questioning my beliefs. The curiosity of one chemistry teacher about what I was thinking to do after school ended. the vision and agility of one of my marketing teachers at university that invited me to join a company that he led. The confidence I had from one boss that made me aware of my soft skills, that I was not aware of that, and the power of connecting people, trust them, and the virtuous circle that appears in these moments of truth. Your leadership becomes so powerful that you bring up talents that people haven't seen yet. And that's the energy that keeps me going over and over. I think that that's the kind of energy that I have in my heart. And I know that when I speak and think with the heart, it's been seen in my eyes. The people used to tell me that I'm like shining, something like that, sparkling.
That's fantastic, Blanca. I've seen you in action in different phases of life, and I think that some of the best gifts that you can give to people is that gift of development. So I thank you for the heart that you have to do that.
Absolutely. And building from that, so the final part that we talked about is leading from the soul. And when we talked about this, we recognized it was very personal. For some people, this means their place of faith. For some people, this is a value system that they operate from. But at the end of the day, it's this innate compass that you operate from. So in talking about that, we just wanted to ask you, how does your beliefs and or your value system show up in the way that you operate at work? And if you could share an example of how that occurs and how it may connect to business results that you see happen every day. And Sylvia, I'll start with you this time.
So, I had to actually reflect about leading with the soul, because I actually find that it doesn't happen often. And I was realizing how powerful the episodes you guys are doing, because that is one aspect I don't think individuals talk enough about, leading with the soul. And when I think about leading with the soul, a lot of it came back to my values, right? So I'm Indian, and most people think Indians are Hindus, but I'm actually Catholic. And in my Catholic faith, I have a number of values with regards to caring for others, respecting others, honesty, trust, and these are foundational values that I hold as an individual and as a person. And so when I think about, how individuals go and lead with the soul, I believe people have values and value streams that they align towards, right? And we all can find commonalities with regards to those values in terms of leadership. But when I think about individuals that actually have led with their soul, there's very few that I always stand out. And it actually happens to be, here, my best example of leading with the soul happens to be Aisha. When I was working at GlaxoSmithKline, I'm new to the organization. It's a big, big company and hundreds of people to navigate. And coming in at the position that I came in, I'm not connected to everyone. And I remember I was in a room with some very senior leaders, and Aisha's been with the company longer than I have. And it was, in her to say, here's somebody who I think is talent. I think that as people, and I think I saw the values, she cares about people. And so she was like, as people, we should make sure that our leaders see talent and get introduced to top talent. And I remember she grabbed my arm and she brought me right up to these individuals and like, I would like to introduce you to Silvi Haldipur. And I started telling them all about me. I was shocked, did not expect that from her in any way, shape, or form. And when I say that, that's an example of an introduction, but that power of caring about, like, the value of, I care about people. I'm going to think about them and prioritize them in terms of helping them came loud and clear. And since that moment in time, if Aisha ever called me, you bet I'll be first in line to stand next to her and help her shepherd other things forward. So, leading with the soul, if more and more people do that, can you imagine how we lift each other?
Absolutely.
It's extremely powerful. So I'm going to leave it there.
Thank you, Sylvia.
Awesome. And Miss Blanca.
Well, it's an emotional moment, Silvi, to share your experience with Aisha. I can tell you that the moments that we have to speak and to listen, both of us, it's a given. I mean, I'm very grateful for that, because she says that I am her mentor, but I think that she is my mentor at the end. So it's like, again, it's like a virtuous circle. Let me tell you another story. In 2005, I was a general manager, and I saw about a seminar of 3 days at Kellogg that was called The Soul of Leadership. And who taught that seminar? Deepak Chopra. At that moment, I was starting my journey to meditation. So when I see that Deepak Chopra was teaching on Kellogg, that was something that makes me like, what? I have to do this. So I ran to tell my boss if I can do this. And it was fine, because he said, it's okay. I was preparing all my speech to say why I want to do this, but it was very, very easy. So it was this seminar. I don't know if it's still in Kellogg, but it's called Leading with the Soul. He didn't he didn't ask. I mean, it was a 3 days reflection where the question was, who am I? And it was like when you're peeling an onion, because the first answer is not going to be the right answer. Well, you're not going to have right answers in this journey. You just have to always think about, who am I? Why? Because that personal outcome is the first thing you know about yourself, and you want to lead, but knowing yourself in a deeply way is not easy. It's a discovery journey that you can do alone or with help in order to find what is your purpose on this. So you have to be aware that you're going to have stops, and you have to be aware that you're going to have up and downs. I have ups and I have many downs. And that seminar told us that the way we used to respond, if we are going to fly or if we're going to fight. And then when you listen about how you confront a challenge, that is something powerful, because you said, I'm going to fly or I'm going to fight. So that's the two choices that you have when you have this kind of challenges. And at the end, the important thing is that you're going to bounce back, because you have to always bounce back. And what are my tools when we talk about the soul? My tools, my personal tool is to meditate. I always meditate. I meditate at a minimum of 10 minutes per day. And that's the kind of energy that I found to begin to start every day. And then I read that gratitude is something powerful. And if you have a journal of gratitude, is something that is going to be the energy that you need to help others, to lead others, to challenge others. So those are my experiences around living with a soul.
Thank you so much.
Very powerful, Blanca and Sylvia. I think this has been an incredible conversation. I don't want to close, but as a closing question, we'll just ask each of you if there's one nugget that you would share with the other women and general professionals who are watching, from your opinion, that would be one takeaway of how they can truly lead as a whole woman. We'd love to hear a final piece of advice you would share. Perhaps Blanca.
Okay, I can start. But I'm going to be very honest. I'm going to read what I'm going to tell you, because
Sure.
this was like, I'm going to speak with you, and I want to give powerful messages.
Perfect.
So I want to tell the people that are going to see, the ladies that are going to see, the girls that are going to see this, I want to say them that you have the right to be what you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
You have the right to do what energizes you. The road has flowers, stones, but also people that will encourage you to keep moving. And when you get what you want, please celebrate, because there are ups and downs. But at the end, you're going to feel that you are gaining so much, but you have to stay humble, because if not, you're going to lose your path.
Mhm.
Question, listen with all your body. When we talk about the soul and the heart, I think that it's a matter where the whole you are there. So challenge the status quo. I like what Silvi said. You don't have to be perfect. It's not about perfection.
Mhm.
It's about being you, and laugh and cry. You have the right to cry, and it's okay. It's okay to show vulnerability. It's about us. So that will be my final thoughts.
And I would echo what Blanca just said. And she said it so perfectly. If I was to leave with just one statement, and I've seen this time and time again with women, is be confident. Um, I feel as women we try to be perfect, and I was in an interview panel once and I saw it. Women will shy away or not be as confident in touting their capabilities, because they have a bar, and a very high bar. And
Mhm.
I encourage women to really be comfortable with being imperfect. My neighbor says I'm perfectly imperfect, and that's
Mhm.
that's a great statement. And be comfortable with that, and be confident in who you are and what you bring. And I would want women everywhere to start. I would love to see more and more women exemplify that kind of confidence.
Well, ladies, my heart is full. Blanca and Sylvie, thank you so much for joining us and just sharing your stories, your thoughts, and your advice. And everyone, as you're listening, I just thank you for joining us for another episode of Girl Exec. Please take time to subscribe so that you could receive a notification for every episode, and join us for our next one.